the cover page for the speaker thing?
I don't know, sir, but we'll get you a copy.
You and I, that's it. All right, are we live here? Good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday, May 6, 2025 Tarrant County Commissioners Court meeting. I now call the meeting to order.
Tim O'Hara, County Judge.
Present.
Roderick Miles Jr., Commissioner Precinct 1.
Here.
Elisa Simmons, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Matt Krause, Commissioner Precinct 3. Manny Ramirez, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Today's invocation will be led by Chris Avila, who's the founder of G3 Experience Ministry in Fort Worth. Please rise for the invocation and the pledges.
All right. Thank you, Lord, for this wonderful day that you've given us. Thank you for life. God, help us to never take that for granted, that today you've given us this day to steward it well, to love people, to love you. And God, I just pray over this amazing county. I pray over the court members. We pray for your wisdom. God, they're going to be making decisions that will affect real people. And we ask that you just give them courage and boldness and strategy to lead our city well. And I thank you again for all these people here that are serving you and serving other people that make this city so beautiful. And so, God, we pray that you help us to hear the cries that nobody else is hearing, that we would care for people that nobody else is caring for, and that you would help us, God, to see all the needs and meet the needs that nobody else is meeting today. We pray all this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you. Chris, who led our invocation, is the chaplain for the Arlington UFL team, also for FC Dallas, and does work with a lot of the Cowboys, so thank you for being here. I know you're busy. Agenda announcements.
Good morning, court members. Just a few quick announcements here. We have 2 items that we are not asking the court to take action on today. Those items are N1. And item S2A. N1 and S2A. And one final announcement, court members. We have one item that is being pulled from consent due to audience participation. That's under purchasing, item 018.
All right, thank you. Court announcements. Any commissioners have any announcements?
I do. I am having my second to last listening session this Thursday, May 8th at Blank Space, and then the last one will be on May the 15th at the Everman Civic Center. And I would just like to say, these listening sessions have been phenomenal. The feedback that we've been able to get from residents has been everything that we desired and expected it to be. And we're looking forward to categorizing all of that data and information so that we can create our priorities. And our priorities will be rooted and based upon what the community said they wanted and what they needed. So I want to just give a big thank you to every resident who's come out and shared space and time with us in Precinct 1 to tell us what your hopes and your dreams and your desires are for Precinct 1 and your community. Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Yeah. First of all, a great initiative. Didn't you call it Miles Across America or Miles Across the County?
Miles across the county.
That's a good one. I would like to congratulate the TCU women's sand volleyball team for winning the first ever national championship in sand volleyball.
All right.
It's incredible that no other teams besides USC or UCLA have ever won it. So they went out to Florida and they got the job done. So we're Titletown, Texas here in Fort Worth.
Come on, all right.
Commissioner Simmons, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. I have a couple. Thank you. May is Mental Health Month, and I will be partnering with an Arlington private training center, Wise World Fitness, on May 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for a mental and behavioral health event. And so it is going to take place at Wise World Fitness, 751 West Lamar Boulevard. And we'll have a variety of topics that we will be addressing, such as breaking barriers to care, small steps, big impacts, avoiding the legal and criminal justice system, and support for parents with adult children struggling with mental and behavioral disorders. So that's May 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And also, I have personal congratulations I want to make to one of my staff members, Jason Thomas. He is my Precinct 2 Director of Road and Bridge. He was a candidate for the Mansfield Independent School District Board of Trustees, and he won his race on Saturday. So Jason, I think you are there in the audience. If you would stand, please. So congratulations to Jason Thomas, and I want to congratulate the winners of all of the municipal races and the people that put their hats in the ring to run. You have to be courageous to do this type of stuff, and so I want to congratulate Jason and the folks over at Keller Independent School District Board of Trustees, those new trustees. Congratulations to them, all of the Mansfield new trustees, and also in Precinct 2, Grand Prairie Mayor Ron Jensen and Mansfield Mayor Michael Evans won re-election. So the constituents have spoken. Our constituents are Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, white, brown, black, Christian, Muslim, everything. And these are the people who believe government should serve all the people. And so that's it. Thank you.
All right, we had our National Day of Prayer Luncheon on Thursday. We had last year we had 500 seats, and all 500 seats sold. This year we had 700, all 700 sold, and we take the proceeds from that, none of which is paid for with taxpayer funds, but we take the proceeds from that. We wrote 2 checks this year, one to Six Stones, who helps people in mainly the HEB area, but they just recently completed their 900th rehabilitation of a house in disrepair for families. I had the privilege of going to see that and do a kind of, groundbreaking for it, which was nice. And then also for the Justice Reform, who is building a home, a residential center for those folks who have been rescued from or are leaving sex trafficking or the sex trade. And then we also take in additional money that around Thanksgiving each year we give to different charities. So it was a very successful event this year, a sellout of 700, which was nice. And now the next announcement leads into our first part of proclamation, resolutions, presentations. And that is Tarrant County's upcoming Employee Appreciation Day. So that will be May the 15th. What is today? The 6th, 7th, 8th? So that'll be next Thursday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. on the 1895 Courthouse lawn. It'll be a great day to recognize and honor our Tarrant County employees. There will be snacks, lawn games, line dancing with music. Commissioner Miles has agreed to lead the line dancing. And there'll be photo booths, master gardeners showcasing and selling plants, exciting giveaways, and the recognition ceremony for tenured employees presented by the court will start at 1:45 p.m. So we hope all of our employees will come on out. And this says complimentary snacks. Is it not providing lunch?
There's lunch.
There's lunch, okay. Yeah.
I think it's Chewy's if I remember correctly.
Okay, good. Lunch provided also. So hope everyone will come out, which now leads us to our proclamations, resolutions, and the first up is employee recognition. So I'm going to ask all of the employees, as I call your name in groups, to stand so we can appreciate you. Please hold your applause until we get to the end of each section. Our 5-year employees: Naresh Akuthoda, hello, Kyle Burris, David Butler, William Carmichael, Crystal Charbonnet, Brittany George, Tammy Heckert, Ray Hinojosa, Tracy LaFoon, Dan Wynn, Joseph Omosigo, Corey Reed, Angel Sanchez, and Andrew Vogel. Thank you all for 5 years. We appreciate you. You can be seated. Now our 10-year employees: Sharon Barnes, Thomas Belton III, Anthony Shavers Sr., Joel English, Anna Galeazzi, Eduardo Inguanzano Gaitan, Kaylee Long, Kyle Morris, Emma Munoz, David Murphy, Paul Wynn, David Reza, Christina Sharon, and Sarah Sherman. Thank you all for a decade with Tarrant County. We appreciate you. Now for our 15-year employees: Brenda Campos, Tyler Fisher, Thomas Kirk, Kimberly Nobles, Albert Spivey Jr. That's it for our 15 years. Thank you all very much. Now for our 20-year employees, 2 decades with Tarrant County: Jerome Adams, Dorothy Cornegay, Connie Lewis, Mario Martinez, Latasha Pouncey. There's always a group that takes the day off for some reason. This is it. Michael Simon and Cashel Smith. Hey, all right. Thank you all. All right, now we go to our 25-year employees, hopefully. The first is Isaiah Hilburn, who's been with the Sheriff's Office for 25 years. Is Isaiah here? All right, we did not get a form, but if you were listening or watching, Isaiah, thank you for 25 years of service to Tarrant County. We appreciate you. Next, we have Ellen Brown, also from the Sheriff's Office. Hello. So she is an executive assistant with the Sheriff's Office, Inmate Services and Chaplaincy Division. She was born in Fort Worth, went to Pascal High School, went to college at Texas Tech, has 2 daughters and 2 grandchildren. In fact, no one knows about her. She was a rodeo and facility secretary and in Pawnee Bill's Wild West show for Cowtown Coliseum and the Fort Worth Stockyards for 6 years. That's pretty cool. She likes to do trail running, gardening, traveling, and playing with the grandchildren. The other job titles she's had with the county: jailer, shift commander secretary, administrative assistant in jail administration, sheriff's office records division clerk, and awards committee chairperson. Most memorable moment, there's been many, but meeting and marrying her husband. They met working in the old Belknap jails on the midnight shift, and he's in his 33rd year, and is Sergeant Jerry Brown with Constable Precinct 3, and they celebrated 30 years together last August. Congratulations, very cool. What she likes the most, being part of her division for so long. She's watched it grow from a 2-person shop in the office and 5 in the jails, currently 8 in the office and 7 in the jails. The chaplaincy and reentry programs are really growing and doing amazing work. We thank you, Ms. Brown, for your 25 years. We appreciate it. All right, next we have Daniel Potts Jr. All right, he's been with us also 25 years. Born at the Joint Base, I guess that's Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. Yep. Graduated from Sam Houston High School. 4 kids. What he likes to do for fun: watch bad movies with his wife and his cat. What's the last bad movie you watched?
Weekend at Bernie's.
Okay, all right. He was ready. Most memorable moment, the day we switched from the mainframe to Tech Share Jail, and the people he likes the most. The people that he works with is what he likes the most. Thank you, Corporal Potts, for 25 years of service. We appreciate you. All right, next we have Jennifer Renner. Hi. Also with the Sheriff's Office, obviously, for 25 years. She's a support service captain. Born in Dallas, went to Lake Worth High School. Loves to play pickleball. She had a lot of different jobs with the county: reception clerk, booking clerk, corrections officer, security control specialist, housing corporal, housing and booking sergeant, housing booking and classification lieutenant. Most memorable moment was September 11th, 2001. She worked second shift and was watching the news like everybody else before going into work that afternoon. And they did not know what they were walking into that day or the days that followed. And what she likes the most is the people that she has worked with throughout her career. Captain Renner, thank you so much for your 25 years of service to Tarrant County. All right, next we have Sherry Pierce. Hello, how are you? She is a deputy constable, born in Fort Worth, Constable Precinct 7. Born in Fort Worth, went to high school at Burleson, went to the police academy at Weatherford College and was certified as a peace officer in March of 1995. She has 6 kids and 10 grandchildren. All right. In fact, no one knows about her. We're about to put the news out there. She's going to retire soon. So what she likes to do for fun: travel with her husband. Other job titles: she worked at the bond desk in the early 90s when she was 19 or 20. She worked for Sergeant Beth Buck. Then she went to admin and was a procurement officer and worked for Sergeant Alvey. She was a jailer in the correction center, called it the new jail back then. And she has been with Precinct 7 Constable's Office for how many years?
25 years.
25. Okay, so wow. And too many to list in terms of memorable moments, but it's been an incredible ride. And she says what she likes the most: she's been fortunate enough to work for and with some of the most amazing people. She truly has had an amazing career. We thank you very much for your 25 years. Go enjoy those grandkids. Mike is it Moncada or Moncada? Well, he's not here, so it's whatever we say it is today. What is it? Moncada or Moncada? Anybody know? Well, Mike's been with us 25 years. He's a housing inspection supervisor, born in El Paso, went to Burgess High School, went to both UTEP and UTA. 3 kids and 5 grandkids. This is kind of cool. In fact, no one knows about him. Played professional racquetball in the 80s. What he likes to do for fun, officiate basketball. Oof. Let's see, he's had no other job titles with the county, so housing inspection supervisor the whole time. Most memorable moment, making it to this point. And what he likes the most, working for the county, it allows him to interact with all kinds of people and help them through their situations. Mike, wherever you are today, we appreciate you and thank you for your 25 years of service to Tarrant County. All right, next we have Angela Tranlee. Not here. Been with us 25 years. She is an internal auditor. Was born in Vietnam. Went to high school in Keller. She got her bachelor's degree in business, a finance major at UTA. 2 children, 1 son, 1 daughter. In fact, no one knows about her. She has 9 siblings. Unfortunately, 2 older brothers passed away when they were babies, so left 8 of them. 1 older brother, 2 older sisters, and 4 younger brothers. She's number 6 in the family from 10. They came to America due to the Vietnam Civil War in April of 1975 when she just turned 8 years old, knowing no English. What she likes to do for fun, plan for family vacations, celebrate holidays with their big family. Unfortunately, her husband has been diagnosed with brain cancer. So we would ask you to remember Angela and her husband in your prayers. She wanted us to convey that she wanted to take this opportunity to thank from the bottom of her and her husband's hearts to all her bosses, her team, her coworkers, her friends, and family for all their continuing prayers and support for her husband. And of course to doctors and healthcare teams, and mostly to God for his protection and healing. Other titles she's had with the county, AP Auditor and Financial Auditor. Most memorable moment, Christmas holiday celebrations with her office and her family. And what she likes most, I am closer to retirement and have an option to do so. However, not until probably 4 years from now. And Angela, we thank you for 25 years, and we will be praying for you and your husband. So thank you, Angela. All right, now we have 3 30-year employees. Is Rodney Crockett with us? Hello, how are you, sir? 30 years, he's a senior IT resource manager, born in New Mexico, went to Midland High School, went to college at both Texas Tech, Management Information Systems, and Tarleton State Information Technology, has 3 daughters. In fact, no one knows about her. He still has his first computer, a 1978 Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 1, and it's still working great. That's kind of cool. He enjoys continuously learning about new technology and staying current with the latest technology trends. He looks forward to annual family vacations, traveling across the country, exploring different national parks, as well as camping in remote mountain wilderness. What's your favorite national park?
Yellowstone.
Okay. Have you been to Glacier?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. All right, other job titles he's had with the county. Started working in the Tarrant County Tax Office as a systems analyst during June Garrison's term. In 2002, he took a new position in the IT department as the database and disaster recovery manager. Over the years, there's been many interesting and memorable moments. The one that stands out the most is the COVID shutdown. Many IT members worked long hours to ensure the county's technology infrastructure was capable and secure to support remote employees. Yes, y'all did. You did a fantastic job. What he likes the most is working with a team of dedicated and talented professionals and building systems and services using large enterprise-class technologies that support all county functions, as well as delivering relevant services to the citizens. Rodney, thank you for 30 years, 3 decades of service to Tarrant County. And next, we have Cliff Alcon. How are you, sir? Good. 30 years with the county also. Deputy Sheriff, Bailiff County Criminal Court number 2. Born in Fort Worth, went to Lake Worth High School. 2 daughters. Fact, no one knows about him. Man, when I first saw the word pose, I didn't want to read the rest of it, but pose for a bodybuilding photo shoot on the 1895 courthouse steps in 1998. Didn't know it had to be approved by Judge Vandergriff. He wasn't too happy, and he is selling those photos out to the what he likes to do for fun, play the piano for parties and events, and get paid very nicely. Other job titles he's had with the county, he's been on the tactical team and honor guard, and he's been a bailiff in the criminal courts all 30 years. Most memorable moment, playing the keyboards for the entertainment for the 1996 Employee Appreciation Day, and what he likes the most, spending time with his family. Thank you, Deputy, for 30 years of dedicated service to Tarrant County. We appreciate you. Okay, and the last one we will recognize today. On May 20th, Patricia Benavides. Where are you, Patricia? Patricia, on May 20th, which is exactly, I think, 2 weeks from today, is it not? Yes? Will be celebrating her 40th year with Tarrant County. Wow. Amazing. That's one of the round of applause. She was born in Piedras Negras, Mexico. Went to Pascal High School and took some night courses at TCC. Has 2 boys. She likes to spend time with her family, mostly her grandkids, watch movies, play games, do puzzles, and loves to travel. Other jobs she has had with the county: voter registration clerk and bookkeeper secretary. Most memorable moments: birth of her children, the grandchildren, celebrating her parents' 50th anniversary, an air ballot ride in New Mexico, and the next most memorable moment will be retirement. And what she likes the most, the service that the office provides to the citizens of Tarrant County. 4 decades, that's pretty incredible. I think you may, since I've been here, maybe only the 4th one that's been here that long. Congratulations to you, and thank you for 40 years of service. Okay, I will make a motion to receive and file the employee recognition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. And for Commissioner Simmons, I guess I'll call, if it's an aye, raise your hand, and then if you don't, I'll call nay. So got an aye, so it passes unanimously. And now you can all go, if you choose, to a reception on the 4th floor in your honor. Again, big round of applause for our Tarrant County employees. Thank you. Next section of the agenda, which is a proclamation for Mental Health Awareness Month. Commissioner Miles.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to just say, with the invitation to lead the line dances, I guess I'm going to have to dust off my boots and pull my cowboy hat and go find me a fan. It is my honor and privilege to be able to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month. We have a few individuals here to receive this proclamation. They are Christina Judge. She's the Executive Director of Mental Health Connection of Tarrant County. Kim Brennan. She's the Strategic Initiatives Director for Mental Health Connection. Lauren Pohl. She's the Office and Membership Coordinator for Mental Health Connection. my friend Frances Wampler with Cook Children's program, Cook Children's, she's a program coordinator, and Jamie Josephson from Cook Children's as well. So I will read this proclamation into the record. Whereas, during Mental Health Awareness Month, we honor the absolute courage of the tens of millions of Americans living with mental health conditions, and we celebrate the loved ones and mental health professionals who support them every day. And whereas, all Americans face challenges in life that can impact their mental health, and whereas millions of adults and children are disabled by mental illnesses every year, and only 1 out of 2 people with a serious form of mental illness seek treatment for his or her mental illness. And whereas stigma and fear of discrimination keep many who would benefit from mental health services from seeking help. And whereas there are practical tools that all people can use to improve their mental health and increase resiliency. And whereas, with effective treatment, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full and productive lives if given the necessary services and support in their communities. And whereas, each community shares the burden of addressing mental health and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. Now, therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Tarrant County and call upon the citizens, governmental agencies, public and private institutions to increase awareness and understanding of mental health and join in activities to take action to strengthen mental health in our communities and our nation. In witness whereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 6th day of May, 2025. Move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please cast your votes. Commissioner Simmons, if it's aye, raise your hand. All right. Passes unanimously.
Thank you. Would you please come to the podium? And Christina, if you would like to have some words, and we'll take a picture. Y'all, this is my first picture.
Hello, good morning. I'm Christina Judge. I'm the Executive Director of Mental Health Connection of Tarrant County, and I'd like to thank the Commissioners Court for this proclamation, and also to thank you for your commitment and your longtime membership at Mental Health Connection. We were formed in 1999 after the Wedgwood Baptist Church shootings that left 7 people dead, 4 of which were children. We came together at a grassroots level, and here we are 26 years later, providing partnership opportunities and collaboration opportunities for our 60 mental health members. Another part of our mission is to make sure that we're providing professional and career opportunities to mental health workers in order to help them advance their skill set and their careers as well. Also like to give a shout out to Cowtown Clubhouse, who is another member of Mental Health Connection. And I'd like to thank our members from Cook Children's as well for coming here, and thank you so much. We are grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christina.
All right, next we have our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
Move approval.
Second.
Now we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, please cast your votes. All right, that would be 4-0. Which brings us to item 9A1, which is consideration of a construction manager at risk agreement between the hospital district and Batson Cook Texas LLC for renovations to administrative space.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Next up is item 2, consideration of out-of-state travel requests.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the out-of-state travel requests. Any discussion there? All right, please cast your vote. All right, that also passes unanimously. Brings us to item, I guess, is that I1?
Yes, sir.
9I1, yes, facilities management, consideration of property use requests for public input sessions related to the redistricting of Tarrant County Commissioner precincts. I'll move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion before speaker? All right, seeing none, Geraldine Jackie Cox.
My name is Jackie Cox. I live in Precinct 1. Commissioner Miles is my commissioner. I'm grateful that you're renting space so that we can have public hearings on your proposed redistricting plan. I'm disappointed that you don't have any hearings in neighborhoods which I regard as the old establishment in Fort Worth that I knew when I went to Pascal and McLean, and TCU. Where are the hearings in Poly? Where are the hearings in Southside and Morningside? Where are the hearings in Poly? I think I said, Poly High, Arlington Heights High. The high schools are the drawing places, the place where all the people whose kids went to elementary school and middle school come together for events. I've been to several things in Northside that were really successful. I want community input. This is so important. I don't mean to attack the selection of places you picked. They're fine. I just want more places, more public hearings, and a longer schedule for doing these things. We didn't get enough information in our packets to put together maps of our own. We need to be able to do that. And I hope that you will take seriously that this is really a matter of importance because it's going to impact where future lines for state reps and congressional districts can go. So please be fair, be honest, be open, and be forthcoming about how we're going to do this. Give us a longer schedule and more places to meet and information that we can use to bring to those meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second on this item. Any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Next up is item I2, consideration of a property use request from Justice of the Peace Precinct 7 to use the sub-courthouse at Mansfield to conduct weddings on May 17th and May 31st. Who's going to talk about this from the staff?
We have facilities reps here to talk about it.
So this is my question. Have we ever, do the JPs normally do these things on weekends? Or is this a one-time request that's never happened before? What's the deal?
So it's not, I wouldn't say normal. It has happened in the past.
Okay.
I believe on March 11th, we did approve one for the Miller Complex.
Okay.
It was on a Saturday, and the resident, I believe, paid for those.
Okay. Is the resident paying for these?
No, I believe this was a request of the JP to perform weddings outside of normal business hours.
Okay. This is my concern. I'm not all that concerned or worried about two things here at the price. My concern is if the JPs start deciding we're going to do these on Saturdays and Sundays or in the evenings, it's not budgeted, and now do we open the floodgates instead of where it's normally done during office hours because we have to pay people overtime to do this? Am I right? Okay. And the money that is charged for the weddings all goes, my understanding, whichever JP it is, into the JP's pocket.
That's my understanding as well,
But
sir.
the county pays for the overtime for the officer, to open the building, to have security present and all that.
Yes, in this request specifically from the GP, the request was to waive the fees that would typically be incurred for costs associated to the county for this function.
And by waive the fees, meaning don't charge the person who wants to have them outside of the hours?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Is there a reason given for why they want these waived? Is that the norm around here? Is we normally charge the resident who's getting married if it's after hours? Is that how we normally do it?
I'd say this is all in alignment with the facilities use policy.
That's correct.
So this is, to my knowledge, with the exception of the citizen enacted one, it's the first time we've had a JP specifically made a request since the court has implemented the facilities use policy with regards to that type of request.
But we don't have any reason or rationale why the request is to waive fees.
I don't.
No, other than the request from the users.
Okay. Do you have something?
Well, we've had weddings after hours where the person that's getting married paid for the entire place to be. Any of the costs outside of what we would normally incur. So it is usually standard for them to pay for the fees.
Okay. And we don't have any reason why we would waive them here that has been stated. Just a request, please waive.
No, it was part of the policy, it was the request. We passed it on to court once we ensure the information is correct and accurate.
Okay. All right, anybody else have any questions?
I do. So before the facilities use policy, because you brought up a couple of questions, it is my understanding that for decades, JPs and constables conducted weddings on weekends and evenings that were convenient for those couples. Is there not anybody in the courtroom? Is there a JP, a constable, facilities staffer that can come up and speak to that? And with regard to waiving the fees, I couldn't quite hear Helen, but was that typical before the facilities use policy or not? I mean, maybe the judge has a good question about the waiving of fees, but what was occurring before the facilities use policy?
I cannot speak to all of the weddings. If they're not here downtown, we don't hear about them as much. So if they're at the sub courthouses, I don't know if they were on the weekends, but if they were on the weekends or after hours, facilities would ask the budget office for the proposed cost for that, and we would relay that back to the person that was having the wedding, and normally they paid if we knew about it.
Is there a JP or constable or somebody from either of their offices in here that can answer Commissioner Simmons' question? All right, nobody's stepping up or raising their hand. All right, any other questions? So, just so I am clear on this, I don't care if somebody wants to get married after hours and people are willing to do it. I guess I just don't know why the whole county would pay for it. But what you just said, Helen, was that normally this is paid for by the person requesting the time. If it were not, would it come here? Because I'm pretty sure this hasn't come here before.
We would still come,
Just like the other
Request
JP
would.
request when it came
Yeah.
from an individual, it's still a request for use of a county facility that the court has to approve, set apart from fees being waived or not.
Forget the facilities use policy for a second.
Okay.
Just the charge itself. If it was going to be picked up by the taxpayers, would that come before us?
I believe facilities always put a, prior to
Okay.
the facilities use policy.
It came on the agenda.
Yes.
And I don't recall a single time that's happened in 2 years and 4 months or whatever it's been. Okay. All right, any other questions?
What's the fee that's, well, I'm sorry, I don't have that backup pulled up. What's the fee that's being asked to be waived? What's the amount?
It's $345.
Thank you, Judge.
Yes.
Certainly up to the court. If it's only the fee that's a concern, again, certainly up to the court on how they want to vote. You could approve the use without
Okay.
exempting fees if that's something you're
Okay.
interested in.
All right, then I will make a motion that we approve the wedding after hours, the use, but require the citizens to pay for the costs.
Second.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second on that one. Any further discussion?
How are we going to make sure that that's followed through? That the fees are collected?
We can certainly make sure through budget and invoices sent to the appropriate party and we can collect.
We have done that before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, please cast your vote. Okay, that passes 4-0. All right, brings us to purchasing 01. If there are no objections or no questions, I will make a motion to approve items 01 through 07.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Okay, we have a motion to approve items 01 through 7. Please cast your vote. Are you a yay or nay? Okay. All right, passes 4. I'm pointing at her like she can see me looking right there at that screen. All right, 01 through 7 is passed unanimously, which brings us to 08, permission to take bids and RFPs. Any questions from the court members on this, or do we have a motion?
Move approval. Second.
All right, we have a motion for approval and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All right, that also passes unanimously. Brings us to 018 from consent. We have a speaker is I believe why this was pulled off the agenda.
That's correct.
And MNOP 018 is a sole source designation for No Inc. LLC for pole pad flip stands from elections. I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion before we bring up the speaker? Yeah, we got you. All right, so no discussion. We'll bring up our speaker, which is Ms. Cox.
Once again, I'm Cherokee Cox in the Commissioner Miles precinct. The agenda item, as it's written, simply doesn't tell us any information that would justify making a sole source purchase. Sole source purchases are exceptions to the general law, which requires competitive bidding. And sole source purchases require stiff proof that there's only one place you can buy this stuff. The device in question was purchased by Dallas County recently. They spent $7.6 million on their purchase. We don't know how many of these you propose to buy. The thing that you put online doesn't tell us how many will be bought, doesn't tell what the per unit price would be, doesn't tell us how much we would plan to spend on it, how long we would plan to use it, or what it's for. You can find a description of this product online. What it does that sort of surprises me is gives you a real-time register of what's going on with voting in a particular precinct. And you could track my Social Security number and my driver's license number and find that who I voted for. And this is not really secure information. One of the things that has been criticized about the system is that it's not entirely secure. I'm entitled to privacy for my Social Security information. I want that. And the other problem is that the software is not from only one source. You can buy electronic signature capture devices, which is what this thing is. It must be approved by the Texas Secretary of State. The Secretary of State's website currently shows 8 vendors. No, that's more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 vendors of these devices. They're not all going to be exactly like the one that shows you in real time who's voting, but they will capture the information on your driver's license so that you know who signed in and who didn't. And that's what you're saying you want to know. You want to know that nobody voted more than once. I don't like this, the way this bid was put together. I think it does not comply with the State Purchasing Act. I think we are entitled to know how many of these things you're going to buy and why and how much they cost. And before you vote to buy something, don't write a blank check. That's not what the law requires. Thank you.
Thank you. So my understanding is this is to designate them as a sole source. You can have a seat. Is to designate them as a sole source provider. This is not buying anything.
No, it's not.
Okay. To buy anything would have to come back before us for approval at a later time.
Yes, we already have these.
Okay. Commissioner Simmons.
Yes, I have a similar concern as Ms. Cox. Is this indeed a sole source? This is just for the stands, right? This is for the, I'm guessing they're metal or plastic public stands, correct?
And it also has that sliding ID holder. I'm sorry, I'm fighting a cold.
You're sick, I'm sick.
Yeah. It also has the sliding part where where elections slides the voter ID, and there's a patent on that as well. So this is just for our current system. That's what the sole source is for.
Okay, because it is hard for me. I was going through this agenda to...
Commissioner Simmons, I'll try to say it a little louder for Melissa. So these are literally just the metal flip stands that we're using that hold the electronics that we use for the poll pads. So in a sense, we were only talking about 2 pieces, the flip stand that flips the iPad back and forth, as well as the slider piece that allows you to slide the ID. We're only talking about a sole source designation for those pieces of hardware, which we already own.
There's no other company in the country that makes a stand that would hold our poll books.
We're going to have Clint come out real quick, Commissioner.
This might be this June invention, but are there other options to hold the poll books that we purchase? I heard Ms. Cox say, and I haven't verified it or confirmed it, that Dallas County used the same poll books and they had 7 vendors bid on it. So can you not get a stand that works that we could competitively get competitive bids for? So, I mean, I have the same concern. this guy may be the only one that invented this thing with this slide, with this deal. But are there other devices that can hold our folders?
Commissioner Simmons, what do you see right now?
I see you and Commissioner, I see the dais.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I thought you probably couldn't tell he was up there to answer it. So okay. Clint is sitting up there to answer some of those questions.
Okay. Thank you.
So this particular configuration of the stand plus the slider, that No Ink owns the patent. They're the only ones that produce it. We already have some of these. As we're transitioning, these are the stands for the newer poll books that we're transitioning to. Our old poll books, the operating software is going out of service and is no longer going to be updated, and we're having to transition to a new poll book, which requires the new stand. And now that we already own some of these, this is the only place we can get more of these from.
So the ones that we own, or whatever, these little gadget things, the question was, I realize the ones we have are from No Ink, is that how you say it? Are there other companies that make a similar thing?
Other companies will make a stand, but not other companies make the stand that does the flip, that does the ID capture, that does everything that this does. This is the only one on the market that does this.
All right. How much does one of these cost?
I don't have it off the top of my head. I don't know. We hadn't even moved to the procurement side of it yet, so this was just the sole source designation.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Again, it's to designate them as a sole source. We can look at the money and the dollars later if this were to pass. So we have a motion and a second, I think. Do we not? Yeah. Okay. Please cast your vote. All right. Are you a no? That's a no. Okay. Got it. All right. So it passes 3-1. I thought she was saying down with the Aggies, but hey. Okay. That is 018, which now takes us to R1. Transportation, consider request for a variance from the Tarrant County Development Regulations, Bella Flora Phase 8 subdivision in Precinct 1.
Move approval. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve this item. Any discussion? Okay, please cast your vote. There it is. All right, so that one passes unanimously. That was R1. Now R2, consideration of final plat, Bella Flora Phase 8 in Precinct 1.
Move approval. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve that item. Any discussion there? All right, please cast your vote on that one. All right, that one also passes unanimously. So next we have S2A, which has been removed from the agenda, but we have 4 speakers. So Billy Wilson. Mr. Wilson, we have read bills.
Good afternoon. Wrong-headed, a local official more concerned about nationalistic priorities than those of its local constituents. Proverbs says, there are 6 things that the Lord hates: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, like our jails, a heart that devises wicked imaginations, like I think this is, and feet that be swift, this is really happening really fast, into running into mischief, and the false witness who speaks lies, and someone who sows discord among the brethren. God just don't like ugly. We don't trust you. We ask that you hire Brazil and Dunn, because we need expertise. These people have expertise in preserving the voting rights of minorities, and we need a watchdog over this process. The Republican goal of turning Tarrant County red will lead to the gerrymandering of minority votes. Since the gerrymandering in 2010, The minority communities in Arlington and Mansfield have fought hard to develop coalitions that represents our communities, resulting in that sweep that you just saw in this last election. This is not because we hate Republicans, because we love Democrats, but what we do hate is those who sow discord in our community. As Mr. Evans said, Mansfield is very broad. There are a lot of different coalitions, but what we don't like is people trying to sow discord in our community. If you can't beat them, cheat them. That's the philosophy that my baseball coach taught us about when the little league teams, when they knew the brothers were going to whoop that head, but they had to cheat because that's what they do. And our coaches taught us to persevere anyway. Don't worry about the score, despite the mission. We know, and they know, that we had a better team. We will persevere. We will win because we have truth and justice on our side. We'll see y'all on the field.
Read bills, then Robert Van.
I've spoken about this before when it was on the agenda. This issue has become very partisan. As a matter of fact, the whole point of it, of the redistricting, is partisan. And the Republicans have their own lawyer to represent their interests and help draw maps that will meet their desires. The two Democrats on the Commissioners Court do not have representation, and they are entitled to representation. So hiring these lawyers that they have selected only is fair. So I support the motion.
Is Mr. Van present?
I'm going to ask.
Okay. Ms. Cox?
Once again, I'm Jackie Cox. I'm in Commissioner Wiles District. My objection to the current plan as put forward by the county is that you do not give voice to many people who live in the county. The way the lines are drawn in your plan, the one that is up later, leaves out, and well, essentially it's called cracking and packing, are the two evils that can be done in redistricting. And what you're doing is carving up those communities of interest who have cared about particular issues. How about, the I-30 and I-20 corridors that go through Mansfield and Arlington, and their traffic problems, and their road problems, and their feeder road problems, and all the other problems that are particular to communities that are contiguous and grouped together at one end of the county. What you're doing is cutting up the Arlington, the precincts that have been what Commissioner Simmons' precinct. And it isn't just Commissioner Simmons' precinct, it's the precinct that belongs to the people who live in that place. You also are cutting up Commissioner Miles' precinct. Once again, you're cutting up voter interest blocks, groups of people who really care and vote together on particular issues. And we are protected under the Voting Rights Act. We have a right to have representation, not only elected representation, but also representation in the process that leads to the election. So we need hearings in our cities, in our communities. We need representation who will help us draw the maps. Right now, we can't even get access to where the data came from. We can't tell what you're doing to us, and we can't put our ammunition together to fire back because you have withheld what we need to know in order to even try to defend our communities of interest. So I would like lawyers who will represent our point of view, and I really would like map drawers, people with the expertise to draw maps that will come out to be fair to everyone, because this county is not 100% Republican.
And if you draw lines to give us only Republican representation, those people who need mental health services and public health services and JPS services and road services and all kinds of services will be not only underrepresented, will be unrepresented. So fix that, please.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is board and commission appointments. Do we have any board or commission appointments? Commissioner Simmons. Commissioner Simmons?
Yes, just 1 second. Yes, I have 2. I would like to reappoint Joanna Cardoza to the Arlington TERS #1 board. And I would like to reappoint Gabriel Rivas to Arlington TERS 5 and 6. Those are my 2 appointments.
All right, a motion for those 2 appointments.
I move to reappoint Joanna Cardoza to Arlington TERS 1. And do you want me to do 2 motions or?
No, I was just saying that was a motion. I was trying to get the second.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion, a second to appoint those 2, reappoint those to the board. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously.
I have some appointments. I'd like to appoint Elizabeth Harrison, Melinda Hamilton, and Leon Pope to the Human Services Advisory Committee.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to appoint those individuals to the Human Services Advisory Committee. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. All right, passes unanimously. Any others? Okay. All right, next we have a briefing on Tarrant County redistricting. We have a representative from Public Interest Legal Foundation here to brief the Commissioner's Court. Before he steps up for the briefing, I'm going to read this announcement regarding redistricting. Proposed Commissioner Precinct maps are available for viewing on the homepage of the Tarrant County website, www.tarrantcountytx.gov. Public comment and participation in the public hearings is encouraged and welcomed. The time and place for each public hearing pertaining to redistricting are as follows. Precinct 4, May 13th at 6 p.m., Azle ISD Administration Building at 300 Rose Street. The second one, Precinct 1, May 14th at 6 p.m., Como Community Center, 4660 Horn Street in Fort Worth. Commissioner Ramirez, is that Rose Street in Azle? I guess that's in Azle, right? Okay, that'd be Azle. Commissioner Miles, Precinct 1, that would be in Fort Worth on Horn Street. Precinct 2, May 17th at 10 a.m., Arlington Sub Courthouse, 700 East Abram Street, Arlington, Texas. And Precinct 3, May 21st at 6 p.m., Gary Fickus Northeast Courthouse, 645 Grapevine Highway, Hurst, Texas. The public is also encouraged to provide feedback in Commissioner's Court during public comment. If you have questions about redistricting or need assistance related to a meeting or submitting a public comment, you can email redistricting@tarrantcountytx.gov. All right, Kit, who is here to do the briefing?
Hi, I'm Joe Dixon of Public Interest Legal Foundation. I just want to compliment the county administration for doing such a great job in putting the proposed maps. You know, each of the commissioners had an opportunity to work with us. We met with everyone individually. We put up the maps that the commissioner asked be drawn based upon their input, not ours. And the county administration has put all of those maps online. They're interactive, so you can take the map and superimpose school districts, streets, precincts, half a dozen different, or maybe up to a dozen different ways to look at everything. You can comment online. You can attend one or more public hearings, and and have your input. The schedule, Judge, is the one that the county has put together for when the meetings are, which you just read, and also I think when you anticipate perhaps making a consideration. This process is entirely the county's process. It is the county's public policy decision, and to do any kind of changes or not, depending on what the county chooses to do. So with that, this is all in your hands, and we're very pleased to be able to work with each of you in putting this process together for you.
All right, do we have any questions for Joe?
Yes. I've got some questions. Good morning, Mr. Nixon. I want to make everyone aware of the Public Interest Legal Foundation. They have a clear and sole record of undermining the Voting Rights Act. So, Mr. Nixon, I have a few questions for you. Have you ever worked for or been affiliated with an organization that sought in court to gain access to voter files, only to be told by a court that your request violated federal election law?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer that question. I don't know what you're talking about, and it has nothing to do with the project for which we've been hired. I don't know what you're talking about.
So again, the question is, have you been affiliated with an organization that went to court to gain access, to voter files, only for you to be told by a court that your request violated federal election law?
I still don't understand your question.
Okay, so the answer to that question is, in 2014 in Mississippi, True the Vote and its attorney, Joe Nixon, yourself, you were denied access to poll books, absentee ballot applications, and envelopes after a federal district judge ruled that it would be in violation of the National Voter Registration Act.
Are you discussing Grossman versus...
Is that accurate?
No. I not on behalf of Bill. No, I didn't. That was a different case. It didn't involve our organization.
A different case, but it was you, correct?
You've been misinformed. Listen, this process is the county's process. It belongs to the county, and I'm really not going to get involved in an argument or a discussion with regard to prior cases. So it doesn't, particularly that in which public interest legal was not involved.
Okay, but you are here today representing Pills, and I did the research.
The county. I've been practicing the law 42 years. I'd love to tell you I've won every case.
Okay, but let me finish with my questions. So, and I just have three. Have you ever represented a party or a client who sought to impose a redistricting plan later determined to be racially discriminatory?
No. We've won every redistricting case we've ever represented.
But it was later determined to be racially discriminatory.
No, I've won every case.
The answer is yes. You represented Galveston County as a public interest legal foundation attorney in Petaway versus Galveston County. That plan was later determined by a Trump-appointed judge to, quote, deny Black and Latino voters the equal opportunity to participate in the political process and the opportunity to elect a representative of their choice, to the commissioner's quote, end quote.
Thank you for asking that question. As you probably have been misinformed on that, the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit reversed the trial court, decided in our favor. The case was appealed to the Supreme Court, which affirmed the Fifth Circuit. So, no, you're absolutely incorrect. We won.
Okay. I'm absolutely correct that that plan was determined to deny Black and Latino voters the equal opportunity to participate in the political process initially.
I'm sorry,
So, okay.
It was decided October
I have another question for you.
last year, and we were successful.
Thank you. So have you ever worked for or been affiliated? Okay, wait. I've asked that one. Let me ask you this one. Have you ever represented a party or client who sought to impose a redistricting plan we talked about that one too. Let me tell you about why I'm asking these questions. These questions clarify your work to undermine the Voting Rights Act and challenge valid election results. I have taken time. I've been at home convalescing after some surgeries. I've been here. And it's given me some time to look at not just PILF, but your background. And so it is very concerning that this court, this county, has selected someone with your background to shepherd or oversee this process. And actually, the appeals court in Galveston did not overturn the district court's findings. And instead, it said that coalition districts would not be protected. So, and PILF argued against coalition districts. That's, so I can't get, I know the answers to the questions I'm asking. I already know the answers. And so, to see you attempt to skirt the answers.
Hang on. Hang on, Joe. Commissioner Simmons, finish your statement or your question, whatever it is, and then he'll have a chance to respond.
To see you continue to skirt the answers further concerns me because, like I said, I already know the answers to the questions. So I'll hear from you, and then I have a couple of statements to make.
Well, let me just respond.
You may speak. Go ahead.
Let me respond very briefly because you've made public statements. I think the response needs to be very clear. The United States Fifth Circuit decided 12-6 en banc on behalf of my client. So no, Commissioner, on that issue, you're incorrect. And so even a stay was attempted and the Supreme Court denied granting a stay to that decision. So there we have it. Now, briefly, I've been practicing law 42 years. I've been board certified as a civil trial practitioner by the Texas State Board of Legal Specialization for 33 of those 42 years. I have never once had anyone say anything that you just said publicly. And I am embarrassed for you for having said those things about me. And I represent the county and have had a privilege that we've met with you. People from our staff met with you, heard you, and sent many emails to you saying, please let us have a meeting with you. You wanted to have 2 public hearings. Everybody else was going to have 1, and I agreed to attend both of your public hearings. Now, I think you've since cut it back to 1, but we've been over backwards to hear you and to provide to the county that which you requested. So, Judge, that's all I have to say about the process. It's been and I want to thank the county for the openness, the administration for having having opened it so well to the public, that the public is now going to have an opportunity to respond and to provide its input in a very open and transparent fashion. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
So first of all, sir, you're not doing me any favors. I'm paying you to shepherd this process, okay? Attending the public hearings is not doing us any favor, doing me any favor. Accommodating my schedule because I had surgery is not doing me any favor. You're being paid by me to do this. Okay, so let's get that straight. I can cite every source of every question and every response I ask you. Okay, so you don't have to be embarrassed for me. You probably need to be embarrassed yourself for getting so defensive. The fact that you have to justify these concerns with an expensive legal process is an effort to hide discriminatory intent of this process. I think I'm sure we have speakers. I can make a comment after the speakers. I'll let the speakers go first, and then I have a comment after that, Judge.
Okay, well, you can make comments during announcements and comments. You cannot make comments at the close of other people's comments. So you can make your comment now, or you can make it after we go through public comments and we do announcements and comments.
So I'll make my announcement now. I thought you and I had a discussion about when or that court members would be able to make comments after the public speakers. So
and they can. After public comments, it says announcements and comments on the agenda, which is what I just read.
Okay. All right. So let me make the public very, very clear. The proposed maps submitted by the Public Interest Legal Foundation and the data accompanying them are wholly inadequate to allow me or any responsible person to adequately analyze the impact on Tarrant County citizens, especially minority citizens. The maps themselves do not display important information, including an overlay of the existing boundaries. Where's the overlay of city boundaries? Where are the designations of county facilities, major economic and public facilities such as universities, stadiums, and public health facilities? And absent is racial shadowing, showing the location and concentration of minority residents. So, sir, the lack of data analysis is insulting and appears to be an effort to hide discriminatory intent. A simple table providing top-of-ballot district-level election results is inadequate. To properly analyze and understand these maps, at a minimum, we need the following information provided in a readily available format, something simple like Excel. We need, one, a detailed breakdown of the racial makeup of the overall population, the voting age population, and the citizen voting age population of each of your proposed maps compared to the current map. I'm not sure why you didn't do something that simple. We need the number of Tarrant County citizens moved from one commissioner precinct into another precinct, all broken down by race. We need the number of voting age citizens who did not cast the ballot for county commissioner in 2024 and who would not be able to vote in a commissioner race in 2026. And the election results that include down ballot county races that will more accurately reflect the likely results of a county commissioner race, specifically the results in the 2020 sheriff's race, the 2022 county judge election, the 2022 district attorney election, and the 2024 sheriff's race. And the reason we need to see that is because when you look at it, you look at the election results in those races in precincts 1 and precincts 2, the voters elected the candidate of choice. And so, for example, in the most recent 2024 sheriff's race, in precincts 1 and 2, the sheriff did not get the majority of the votes. His opponent got the most votes in precincts 1 and precincts 2. And your data does not show that. And so, in addition, it's just essential that the map drawer, is the map drawer there with us today? Adam Kincaid? It's essential that the map drawer, Mr. Adam Kincaid, appear before the Commissioner's Court to respond to questions regarding his qualifications, the choices he made, the criteria he used, and the direction he was given by you or I don't know whom. If he is not available, then all consideration of the proposed map should be suspended and the timeline moved forward until he is able to appear before this Commissioner's Court in open session. It took a week or less for him to draw up 5 maps. Using what criteria, what principles? And so I'm disappointed but not surprised because of who you guys are. But I'm disappointed by the inadequate work product of PILF and the contract map drawer that you've hired. Their work and your oversight of their actions are clearly hostile to minority citizens in my district and throughout the county, and are a continuation of ongoing intentional racial discrimination by your company.
All right, any other comments from court members?
Yes, Judge, if I may. I just want to reiterate that the current maps are legal and valid. I think a rushed timeline, voting by June 3rd, doesn't really leave legitimate time for community feedback, for community input. I agree with some of the comments that were made by citizens that there are communities that need to be able to have an opportunity to share their voice, and having limited numbers of town hall meetings for whatever reason robs those individuals of the opportunity to have their voices heard. We were elected to represent every resident in Tarrant County, and if we're going to do something as serious as redistricting, then we should do our level best to make sure that every voice has an opportunity to be heard, and that their desires and the things that they want to see with their neighborhoods are taken into consideration. And 4 town halls does not meet that threshold, in my opinion, of making sure that every resident's voice is heard. What about those dates? Maybe some residents are unable to be there at that particular date. They can't take off. They don't have the luxury of showing up on those dates. It may be a transportation barrier that's in front of them that will preclude them from making it to it. We need to make it as accessible and open and transparent to every resident in Tarrant County as we possibly can. And if that means extending the timeline, so be it. We are not elected to represent just the people that we agree with. We were elected to hear from the people. We, the people, should have an opportunity to let their voices be heard. I think that a model that we may want to consider, it may not be popular, but I think that it was thorough. The City of Fort Worth's redistricting plan. They had community feedback. They allowed community members to be able to create their own versions of maps to be considered and to be discussed. We are not giving citizens the opportunity to do that. So, do we really want to have community feedback and input? Do we really want to be transparent? Do we really want to be thoughtful with the process? Or do we want to just present something and say, oh yeah, we rubber stamp it and say, this was transparent, this gave you the opportunity. It doesn't, my friends, it doesn't. And I think that the members of our community deserve that opportunity. They deserve to be heard. And we need to meet them where they are. It's ludicrous to me to expect people to come to us when we want their support. We got to be willing to go to them. And if it inconveniences us, so be it. These seats don't belong to us. They belong to them, the residents. And we need to put the desires and the needs of the residents above our own conveniences. The last thing I'm going to say is, this redistricting process, the way it is presently constructed, is rushed in nature, it's inadequate, it's inequitable, and unjustified. Not only does this redistricting process affect historic representation, but it also can impact staffing and operations in the people that we employ. And I'll point in case, in some of the maps that were presented, the majority of my unincorporated Tarrant County roads were taken away. How is that going to impact my maintenance facility and the staff that we support? When you shrink it down to basically nothing, then that has an implication on the people that we hire and that work for me. We need to be thoughtful and deliberate in this process. And we need to think about the implications beyond what conveniences us. We need to think about how it impacts everybody. That's all I'm asking for. If we want to redistrict, fine. But make sure it's thorough and that everybody has an opportunity to have their input, especially the people that we employ. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Anything you'd like to add? Okay. All right, now we have some public.
I do have something additional. With regard to the town halls or public hearings, those are, unless we are able to take the feedback from the public and bring it back to PILF, and let's say the public says, hey, let's move this line here, that line there, and then we get new maps. The public hearings are a farce. If there's no real input from the community that is taken into consideration. I participated with the City of Arlington's City Council redistricting. And at the time, I was the president of the NAACP in Arlington, and we had a LULAC president at the time. And so that process started in August, and I think City of Arlington voted for their map in December. And so my organization and LULAC worked together to come up with our own map that was presented to the city. And other communities of interest did the same thing. We're not allowing that. All this is let's stand up some town halls or public hearings let's say, be able to say we had them. And despite what the people say, the only maps we're going to consider are those 5 maps that are up on the website today. Unless PILF can get up and tell me that, yes, if we're going to take the feedback from the town halls, we'll go redo the maps, and then we'll present other maps and get additional feedback from the community. So, I mean, there are so many process questions with this. Like, where within Texas state statutes is there specific authorization to redraw county commissioner precinct boundaries after they've already been considered and confirmed following the decennial census? Where's that at? Where does it say we can do that? And really, in what way does the current base map violate federal or state law? Where's the violation of federal or state law? Why are we doing this? So, I mean, there's no legal reason to make any changes in the current boundaries. Is that right, Mr. Nixon?
He's not going to keep coming back up here every time you have a new question. The reason why we are doing it is because it was placed on the agenda and 3 people voted for it.
Okay.
That is why we're doing it.
He can come to the mic. I'm paying him to come to the mic.
Yeah, well, you're not paying him anything. It's being paid by taxpayers, but I think he already said,
so
excuse me, I think he already said that he was sitting down and was not going to continue to answer questions.
He doesn't get to tell me what he's going to do, okay? So the question is, Mr. Nixon, is there a legal reason to make any changes in the current boundaries? He's a lawyer, he's who we've hired, he's got legs, he can walk back to that mic and answer that question.
Do you intend to answer it?
This is the county's choice, not my choice. It's not our organization's choice. The county has chosen and may choose. The United States Supreme Court in 2003 gave jurisdictions the opportunity to do mid-centennial redistricting. It is completely within the county's public policy prerogative. And let me make something very clear. We haven't drawn any map. Each of the commissioners and the judge has drawn maps, not us. We don't decide where the lines are. They gave us input, and our map drawer prepared maps based upon their input, not ours. That's just that simple. So the maps you see, like the map, the base map that you asked us to provide, is what you asked us to provide. That's what's up to. So each of the maps is the map drawn by a respective commission, where someone has said, here's what I'd like to see as a possibility. So those are yours, not ours.
Okay, so is there a legal reason to make any changes in the current boundaries? That was the first question I asked you to come up to answer.
It is the county's decision.
I know that part.
To do that. If the county chooses to do that, it is authorized to do that under the law.
I understand.
Right.
Is there a legal reason to make any changes in the current boundaries?
You understand that the county has not redistricted in over 15 years. And maybe perhaps longer than that. In the last 10 years, not in 2020, and I don't believe since 2010 have they redistricted. So if the county chooses to, the county may. Because I've only been hired to advise the county. I'm not asked, I haven't come here to tell the county what to do. This is completely and entirely your choice, your vote. You get to decide. It's not me. I am simply providing you, each of you, the maps that you've asked us. You have said, this is what I'd like to do. For example, you have said you don't want to make any changes, and you wanted the current map put on the agenda. So we provided that information to the county administration. And the county the timeline, we didn't create the timeline, the timeline is created by the county. You know, we're just providing you advice on how to implement a change if the county chooses to make a change.
Okay,
You know,
you're here.
So it's not.
You're here to offer advice, and I've asked you, I think, about 6 times. So if you would advise me by answering this question, is there a legal reason to make any changes in the current boundaries? That's a question, yes or no? I know it's my choice. I know it's our choice as the court. I know.
That is the legal reason. If the county chooses, then it is a legal reason for the county to execute a new districting plan. That is the legal reason. Are you? You're asking me, is there something currently illegal with the map?
Correct.
Okay. That is not anything I've been hired to provide an answer to. So I've simply been hired to provide the county the process to make changes if the county chooses to make changes.
Okay. And so to make a correction, our county went through a detailed and thorough redistricting process in 2021. You know that. So you're disingenuous.
If a change was made, I think I saw the letter from Bickerstaff Heath, the lawyers that you hired at the time, who advised the county that a change at that time was not needed.
And so
I don't know the detail or depth of their analysis or what that other law firm done. I have not been provided any of that information. I don't have access, of course, to the other law firm's records.
Well, that's very concerning, because if you were retained and hired to do the process this time, it seems like to me, I know I would have looked at all past redistricting processes. So, but just because you don't know, let me be very clear. This county went through a very deliberative, thorough process in 2021, just less than 4 years ago. The current map has very little deviation in population, far under the 10% allowed under law. I think it's 1.08. I guess you don't know that either. And further, from 2010 to 2020, Tarrant became a majority minority county. The Black plus Hispanic population increased by over 220,000 people. The Anglo population decreased by 32,000 people. Currently, Anglos make up the majority of citizens in precincts 3 and 4, and minority citizens make up the majority in precincts 1 and 2. And the current map reflects the population balance of this county. It sounds like you don't know that. It sounds like you don't want to know it. It sounds like you're just, thank y'all for hiring me. I'm going to oversee this process. We're going to bring in a map drawer. He doesn't work for your firm, correct?
May I respond?
Does the map drawer work for your firm?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
Okay. So y'all went and y'all contracted out with the map drawer to come in and spend 20, 30 minutes with each of us. Ask us what we want, and my meeting was Wednesday, and Friday we had 5 maps. That's how quickly the process is a problem.
All right, so,
Is there a question? Hey, I mean, is there a question?
yeah, I just want to...
Is there a question?
I've asked him several questions and he has answered them.
Okay, so if you've answered them, are you done with questions for him?
I'm not sure. He says he has something else to say. So
If there's not a question, he's not going to say anything else. So,
he just said he had something to say. But
Okay.
you can sit him down if you like.
if you have another question for him, ask it. If you don't, he's going to sit down. Okay. Do you have any other questions for him? No. Okay. All right. You are dismissed. All right. Now we have speakers. Because it's over 20, the speaker clock is 2 minutes. The first is Mindy Tackett. Following Ms. Tackett is Efren Carrion.
My name is Mindy Tackett, and I'm a resident of Precinct 4. I brought a handout with a map of the Tarrant County outcomes in the 2024 presidential election and each of the proposed map options for redistricting. There is a pattern. The overlap between the 2024 election outcomes and all 5 of the proposed maps is so obvious, it's breathtaking. It's evident what some on this court are doing, packing Democratic and minority voters to ensure Republican power. Pushing for redistricting now without proven, data-driven, dramatic demographic shifts will erode public trust, raise serious questions about motive, and waste taxpayer dollars. We can all see this isn't really about fairness, it's about gaining an advantage. One member of this body openly admitted this is about securing conservative leadership. This is not democracy, it's manipulation. Thank you.
All right, do we have Efren Carrion? No Efren? We don't have a spillover room, do we?
I think we're empty now, sir.
Okay, Ann Zeta. Following Miss Zeta, we have Selena Vasquez.
Good morning. It's interesting to be on this side of things. I really appreciate the unique lens that I bring to this discussion and the fact that Commissioner Miles brought it up previously that the city of Fort Worth did go through redistricting not that long ago. And that unique lens that I bring as being in an elected position at that time, the redistricting process was way more extensive than what is being proposed here. Not only is this an off-census timeline, the timeline itself is incredibly sped up, and the public meetings, many of which are happening all in the month of May during a very busy time for citizens of Fort Worth. There are many people that don't even know that this is happening. I personally am concerned because all the proposed maps move me from the district that I've been in for decades, that I just voted for my representative, into a completely new district that I have not had any interaction with at all. No mapping tool has been provided. I had a hard time signing up just to come and speak at this meeting because of the technology being a little bit wonky. To expect a citizen to create a map and just upload it for you to look at is completely unacceptable. When the city of Fort Worth did it, they had a mapping tool that was incredible. Anybody could use that tool, move a line, it would tell you whether you were violating a rule. It would tell you the population change that had happened. I wish that the city of Fort Worth had used an independent outside redistricting process and not done it themselves. I think that is the way to do it. I don't think that is what is happening here, and I appreciate the opportunity to share with you my concerns. There are many more, but I know that others here are going to speak on those as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Vasquez here. Following Ms. Vasquez, we have Diana Kaysen.
Thank you. Good morning, County Judge and Commissioners. My name is Selena Vasquez. I'm a resident of the city of Arlington. My family and I go to school, and worship in Arlington. I am here today to express my desire for fair maps and asking that you all consider keeping the current maps. We would also like to ask that y'all consider additional hearings for more community involvement, more input, And we ask that y'all consider having those in hours when we're generally not at work, which is working class families. So maybe considering something after 5 again. In addition, asking that y'all consider doing some of the outreach to communities that are underserved and not all in English. We ask that y'all consider maybe hosting some at some of the churches in East Arlington where I go to church, and maybe having those in Spanish or Vietnamese. I'm also here to support Commissioner Simmons and believe that this is a targeted action against her for being vocal, responsive, and an excellent elected official. Please know that her voice is my voice. The proposed new maps will make it very difficult for her to get reelected, and to help us, and she's been very responsive to myself, my neighbors, and my community. I'm here to ask, please, for fair maps, and ask that y'all keep the current lines. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Kaysen, present. Following Ms. Kaysen, we have Carla Palomares.
Good morning. My name is Diana Kaysen, and I live in Bedford. In 2021, this court, which held a 4-1 Republican majority, evaluated the population differences and determined that even with the growth in the county, there was only a 1% variance in population differences, well below the 10% threshold required to redistrict. It was determined that redistricting would not be necessary before the next census in 2030. Here we are in 2025, and we're redistricting. I have concerns about spending taxpayer dollars unnecessarily. Further, I have concerns about a rush decision, June 3rd, to make such an important decision that we know will have long-term implications. Historically, we've not redistricted frequently. This is a large, significant undertaking. Precinct 3 hearing is scheduled for May 21st on these proposed maps. That's 12 days before the final decision is being made by this court. That doesn't feel to me like a long enough time to consider meaningfully any feedback that's to be obtained from these sessions. So are these meaningful sessions for input, or are they dog and pony shows? Please consider extending this important decision and timeline, looking at your process, and listening to the concerns raised today by myself and others. Thank you.
Thank you. Following Ms. Palomares, we have Janet Mattern.
My name is Carla Palomares, a resident of Precinct 4. This attempt to redistrict halfway through a census period and just a few years after redistricting was previously considered by prior court members is proving once again that you, Tim O'Hare, are an irresponsible steward of our tax dollars, a bully to dissenting voices that show up here in this court every 2 weeks, and a power-hungry operative of the big money donors and bad actors who support you and your political allies. This is strictly your agenda. None of us believes this is an effort that makes any sense, and when we ask ourselves, why is this a priority right now? It's because the 2026 elections are closing in, just over a year away, and this is best case scenario for you to tilt this court back into a conservative majority. That erases the voices and manipulates the votes of Black, brown, and other historically marginalized voters to prevent them from having representation on this court. The people voted to elect Commissioner Miles, Commissioner Simmons, Commissioner Kraus, Commissioner Ramirez, and even you, Judge. But this redistricting is not what the people wanted. You decided this unilaterally before consulting the people. Let's be very clear about that. Tim O'Hare, you're actively bankrupting our county by spending millions on lawsuits and settlements because of our horrible sheriff's department's actions, and now you're opening up our taxpayers' wallets again to potential lawsuits due to racial discrimination and unethical practices to undermine our democratic system and government. The 4 forums is not enough. Less than a month to make this decision is not enough. I want to also point out that none of the communications thus far have been translated into any other languages, which shows us already that you're excluding communities. We knew this was coming, though. We knew that you would lie to our faces about the intent. We knew you would rush the process and use your powers as judge to influence the outcome. This shouldn't move forward, but if it does, trust that you'll be unseating yourself from this dais next November. Count on that.
Next, we have Ms. Mattern. Following Ms. Mattern, we have Susan Levon Cockrell.
Hello, my name is Janet Mattern. I'm with the League of Women Voters of Tarrant County. We oppose the proposed new maps. The 2021 assessment found that the population apportionment was within the legal threshold. These proposed maps are using the same data as was done in 2021. So why redraw the maps now? The public has a right to know the criteria that you are using to generate these maps. The criteria should include, like in 2021, compliance with the Voting Rights Act. These maps do not appear to be in compliance with the Voting Rights Act. Redistricting must be nonpartisan, open, unbiased, with citizen participation at all steps of the process. Please say no to all these proposed new maps, fair maps, or no new maps. Thank you.
Thank you. Following Ms. Cockrell, we have Nydia Cardenas.
I always laugh when I hear my full name and I think, I don't know how that happens, but it is a pretty name. Thank you. It's good to see you. Okay, well, 3 MAGA Republicans, you're moderate enough, voted to spend taxpayer money on a Project 25 Heritage Foundation company, your company, used to sue lots of counties for their elections that they consider have a lot of fraud, and they lose. They're not winning. They may win this. You three, Mr. House isn't here, may win this. We'll probably win this. Everybody here knows this is a political action you're doing to skew, as this young woman said. But Bud Kennedy says that Patriot Mobile money is 0 for 11 and 0 for 5 in the election we just had on Saturday. It is not going to go well for you if you really want to retain your job that you're keeping, that you have now. And I know, Judge O'Hare, you're thinking you might go on up to Ken Paxton's job. Everybody talks about it. Everybody talks about it. But it's not sitting well, as you probably can tell. I think you shouldn't do this. I think you should reconsider this. My black brothers and sisters need representation because I'm a white person and I am the minority in this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Ms. Cardenas present? Following Ms. Cardenas, we have Chris Dobson.
Hello, my name is Nydia Cardenas, and I'm here to express deep concern about the redistricting process currently underway. The current timeline gives the community barely a month to understand and respond to changes that will affect political representation for years, if not decades. This gives the firm little time to incorporate our feedback meaningfully, which has already been mentioned by previous speakers. Why is this being rushed? Yes, you've released 5 proposed maps, but none of them come with any explanation to help the public understand why these particular lines are being drawn. That's not transparency, it's a scavenger hunt. I echo Commissioner Simmons' disappointment in the lack of rigor in the analysis and data demonstrated. Redistricting mid-decade without new census data, without clear justification, and under a rushed timeline is suspect. But doing it in this way without transparency or meaningful engagement undermines public trust and democratic legitimacy. I was disappointed by my own representative on this body, Commissioner Ramirez's statements, that he believes he has a moral obligation to do everything legally permissible to ensure that our county continues to enjoy responsible conservative leadership. This isn't just about maps, it's about power. It's about whether the people of this county get to choose their representatives or whether representatives get to choose their voters. Leadership is not about control. It's about courage. The courage to govern in the open, to welcome hard conversations, and to be accountable to the people you represent. I urge you, do better than this. The community's watching. We'll be at those meetings.
Mr. Dobson is next. Following Mr. Dobson, Billy Wilson.
name's Chris Dobson. I live in Arlington. And these maps all appear to do what has been done to Arlington over and over again, which is to split up our population and remove our power, not just at the Tarrant County level, but at the state level and at the federal level. We currently have a representative at the state level who has been redistricted a number of times in order to keep his seat safe. His name's Tony Tinderholt, and you know, his main claim to fame at this point is that he was able to cut out a contract for himself out of the school security mandate that was passed down. I would specifically like to ask PILF to remove option number 2, as I don't believe this map could even be shown in elementary schools, as it is so obviously that District 2 is engaged in carnal knowledge of District 1. Districts 3 and 4 seem to have nice Christian boundaries, just straight lines going here and there. But 1 and 2, which are the minority districts, seem to be entangled like snakes. You know, it's just insulting for the second largest city in this county to be insulted over and over again. We have chosen our voice, even if the representative from PILF won't allow her to speak at times, even if at times, Mr. O'Hare, you don't allow her to speak. She speaks for us. We are impressed by her, we back her, and this attempt to remove her from office is shameful. The actions of a spurned toddler at best.
Following Mr. Wilson, we have Julie Griffin.
I love Chris Dobson. Hyder Garcia did a good job. Crystal Mason should not have been prosecuted. And we need to see all the videos of those who have died in county jails, especially Anthony Johnson. And once again, we call for decarceration. We just have to keep saying that. So when I saw your map, this is what I saw. Maybe you can explain this. And what this is, the old map, if you notice, it's like that.
Mr. Wilson, please face the court.
Okay. It's like this before Worth starts to go into North Arlington, and now it's actually creeping around and coming down. So it's like this. I don't know why it's like that. It reminds me of a worm. And that reminded me of the racist worm that's been in this country for years. We have continually tried to live up to one man, one vote. All men are created equal, yet time and time again, we have to put up with this racist worm continuing to try to come into our community and dilute our vote. I will hope you will be at the meetings, because I know what you're talking about. That map 2, that map 2 put my home and my daughter's elementary school that I walk my dogs to because it's just 2 miles in 2 totally different precincts. I want to know why. We cannot be packed in with Benbrook and Burleson. That makes no sense. We are the largest county we are the largest city in this county outside of Fort Worth, and we need to have our own representation. We do not need to be in with us, Fort Worth, Benbrook, and all of these different places. That's just plain wrong. And so, we will be at the meetings, and we will talk, and we will ask questions, and hopefully you will have answers, because there is no reason for this to be happening other than a political grab.
Following Ms. Griffin, we have Linda Hanratty.
Good day. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. The correct word for this briefing is not process. It is fiat. Because the fact of these bizarre maps and the deliberately beheaded so-called process is we, the royalty, are doing it for one reason: the accomplishment, display, and expansion of our power. It has nothing to do with integrity or honesty or the public interest or concerns of democratic, as in democracy, or Republican, as in republic, representation of all the citizens. It reeks of a power grab that is racially partisan. Where there used to be 4 fairly visible quadrants of geographic representation, there would now be only 2 fairly clear quadrants, Precinct 3 and Precinct 4, Northeast and Northwest. Southeast and Southwest, meanwhile, represented by the only 2 African American commissioners, are torn to shreds. They even look like shreds. Let's be blunt. This is racial gerrymandering at its core. This is the work of king and court, not representative government, not a republic. Maybe that is your real message. We don't care about representation, only power, so that the powerful select the voters, not the voters select their leaders. Please keep the original map, which is fair, thoroughly processed, and fully represents the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Following Ms. Hanratty, we have read bills.
I strongly oppose any redistricting of the county commissioners' precincts prior to the 2030 census. I am especially troubled by the redistricting proposals in the subject briefing, any one of which would lead to an expensive lawsuit claiming racial discrimination. Given the rapid timing of the redistricting process, its preparation by an ultra-partisan law firm, and the questionable source of the data used, this blatant partisan redistricting would be costly when federal funding is being cut by the Trump administration. We simply can't afford this unnecessary expense, the purpose of which is to disenfranchise minority voters while essential county services are in jeopardy, thanks to the Republican Party.
Following Ms. Bills, we have Charles Bills.
Judge O'Hare has insisted that the justification for redrawing county lines is to even the distribution between the precincts. However, numbers show that the precincts are still in balance. Now, faced with the likelihood that his smart, Democrat, female, black adversary on the court will win re-election in 2026, Judge O'Hare wants to gerrymander her precinct to dilute or even eliminate her black and brown constituents. The methods chosen by his conservative law firm to achieve his goal includes using data from the results of the 2024 election and flipping precincts 1 and 2 so that the incumbent candidate will now be seeking election by a constituency that does not know her and no longer identifies with her. The first tactic violates election laws, and the latter tactic clearly reveals Judge O'Hare's biased intent.
Following Mr. Bills, we have Becky DeLong.
Okay, I saw all 5 maps, and they pretty much all look the same. You could have even tried to show some sense of being fair and balanced by having at least one map look semi-decent, even though you wouldn't vote for it. You know, you could have moved that section of East Tarrant County out of Precinct 1 and cleaned them up a little bit in one of the maps, but all 5 maps look the same, so there's really nothing to vote for. Thank you.
All right, following Ms. DeLong, we have B.C. Cornish.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Becky DeLong. We have seen the maps showing options for redistricting. There is no legal, logistical, or democratic reason to redraw these lines. Only one thing is obvious. This is not about balance, fairness, or representation. The new maps are designed with 2 goals in mind: to eliminate black leadership from this court and silence the black vote in Tarrant County. Communities, especially those with minority or dissenting voices, are being targeted for erasure, not physically, but politically. When voters no longer choose their leaders, but leaders choose their voters, we've crossed a line. We are preparing to cross the line that separates democracy from authoritarianism. You know these lines aren't necessary, and you know this change isn't justifiable. So I ask you to stop it now. Because if this redistricting proceeds, public opposition will rise, polarization will increase, and lawsuits will follow. And this court will be seen correctly as a radical arm of Tarrant County government that created political apartheid, where entire voting blocks were permanently denied influence. You need to recognize that this is a test of whether you defend democracy or dismantle it. I pray you take this decision very seriously.
Following B.C. Cornish, we have Jane Collins.
May it please the court. I live in Fort Worth, have lived here a long time. I think that I can speak for most taxpayers when I tell you that we are interested in your core functions, the core functions of your jobs, like is set forth on your own website. We are interested and we will support you and work with you, and we pay our tax dollars so that you keep county bridges and roads in shape, that you make sure, I think you could do better on this, that we have a functioning jail, that the county hospital works well, that veterans are provided for, and that county records like deed records and court records are preserved for posterity. Those are your core jobs. Taxpayers are much more interested in y'all doing your core work than whether any of you are reelected or whether any of you use your current job to get elected to a higher office, whether any of you become the darlings of either the Republican or the Democratic Party. We are sick and tired of politics and politicians. We're tired of it. We want you to be public servants, not public show horses for one party or the other, but true public servants. And true public servants, well, the editorial board of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram warned y'all in early April that this was a mistake. And they listed out the many ways in which this decision was costly. And it's going to, and so you've already wasted about $30,000 and God knows how much time. There's so much more money that's going to be wasted if y'all insist upon moving forward with this harebrained scheme. Because we know, and there's a little bit more information available to you now, because we had
Ms. Collins
so much more to say.
Following Ms. Collins, we have Nicholas Terziak.
My name is Jane Collins. I live in Arlington, and Alyssa Simmons represents me and everyone else really fairly. I feel really satisfied with the way she represents everyone in the district. And I'm really upset that this redistricting discussion is even happening, because I don't see any reason for it until after the next census. So I'm asking you to vote against redistricting. I think it's unfair. I agree with so many of the speakers who have clearly said that there's a racial aspect to this, trying to cut out certain people from being represented, as well as what Mr. Ramirez had said, that keeping it conservative. I think what we want to do is just have people represented, and I really appreciate Alyssa Simmons and Roderick Miles for representing people who historically have not been represented. I think that's a really important role for commissioners to play. So I'm asking you to vote no, and in this firm you've hired, I I think that Alyssa Simmons is right. It is a partisan firm, and we should not be using them at all. And even when after the next census, I don't think they would be a good choice. Thank you.
Thank you. So Mr. Terziak, present. Nicholas Terziak, no. Edward Spears. Following Edward Spears, we have Gwen Johnson.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I will try to be brief within the 2 minutes. I'm very concerned about why this is going forward, and I ask the same question, why the rush? I'm curious as what the need is and why aren't we following the city's process? From a biblical standpoint, I represent Pentecostal Ministers Union as the president, and we're very concerned as to why aren't we doing these things decently and in order? If we have to do this, then why not give us all the information first? What's the current data necessary to do this? What are we really looking at? What are the metrics that you're using to build these lines? How are we going to actually make this decision? And who's going to have input? Those sessions that are happening right now are not enough time for you all to have a legitimate conversation afterwards and then make a decision. So I'm wondering, is this an information session or an input session? We don't need to be just informed. We want to make sure you have our input. So I'm asking, why the rush? If this is important, if this is necessary, if this is definitely something you feel is decent and in order, then let's do it the right way. Take the time, hear from the people, open the sessions, bring the law firm to answer questions. I've hired attorneys. If I hire an attorney, he can't answer my questions, he's not doing his job. It doesn't matter who writes the check, it's the county's money, you're absolutely correct. And any question that the commissioners or this public has for him, he needs to be able to answer. Our communities are listening, we're watching, and we're organizing. We want to make sure that we are represented, and I hope and pray that you will hear us and follow what you swore to do, which is represent us all.
Is Ms. Johnson present? Following Ms. Johnson, we have Valencia Edner.
Good afternoon. It has come to my attention that you guys plan on paying this foundation, PILF, using our tax dollars. I don't think so. I'm asking you not to use mine when you have literally let a county employee by the name of Jolynn Russell for 31 years steal our tax dollars. Do not take our tax dollars to pay this organization. The commissioner asked him at least 5 questions. He did not answer one. For that, he is not to be paid, not with my tax dollars. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want him. See, when Jolynn stole 31 years worth of tax dollar money, you guys let her go, but because she had the complexion of protection, we haven't had a word. So take those tax dollars that she stole and pay them with it. Because using mine to remove Alicia or Roderick, it ain't happening. And I'm gonna leave you with Isaiah 54:17. No weapons formed.
Is Ms. Edner present? Following Ms. Edner, am I not mistaken, did Ms. Hanratty already talk during this?
I did.
Yes, okay.
To the commissioners and to Judge O'Hare, I'm Reverend Dr. Valencia Edner, and I'm the pastor of Carter Metropolitan CME, with parishioners living all over Tarrant County. I stand in opposition to this unnecessary, mean-spirited change in voter map. Please be clear, no office, no position, and no title grants immunity from accountability to the people. PILF, I won't turn around since I need to address the court, but I hope you hear me. Your discount fee and underhandedness leans toward quid pro quo to avoid accountability and open market choice of agency. Yours is an interesting and accurate acronym, but I digress. Racially biased redistricting is not only unjust, it's un-American. It severs communities of colors from fair representation, erases voices of the poor, and upholds supremacist legacy that many in power would rather we stay silent about, but silence is complicit, hence we will not be silent. This court is not above the Constitution, and justice must not be gerrymandered. Far too many who were elected to serve the people, especially in this season, have bowed to power, fear, and political gain, forgetting whom they work for. Your role is not to reign, but to represent. Public hearings are insulting if change is not allowed. When public servants forget their purpose, the people must remind them, so know this. If the maps don't reflect the people, they reject the people. And if this court refuses to hear us, we will raise our voices louder in the court of law, in the court of public opinion, and at the ballot box. We will not be quiet while the lines of justice are redrawn to exclude us. It's an old Jim Crow trick. It doesn't pass the smell test. We see it, we name it, and we vehemently resist it.
Nan Terry, you're next. Ms. Cox is after that. Is Ms. Terry here? There you are.
So it's good afternoon. Does anyone know if any other counties in North Texas or in the entire state of Texas are considering redistricting in a year not related to a census? In other words, what other counties are doing redistricting now? And I'm confused. In the agenda on I-1, the item is, I quote, consideration of 2 property use requests for public input sessions. I believe the court approved that. Yet you, Judge O'Hare, and the speaker referred to these as public hearings. And Commissioner Miles called these meetings town halls. And Commissioner Simmons,
I'm sorry, you have to be talking now about redistricting.
I am. The agenda I-1 is consideration for 2 property use requests for public input sessions for redistricting. Yet everyone else is calling them public hearings. Which is it? The words have meanings, and in the legal sense, a hearing is different than an input session. I'm confused. Whatever these get-togethers are called, will there be computers and county or consultant employees available to help interested individuals who want to create a map? Will there be demographics available associated with each of these proposed maps? And when will this information be available? It's like we're giving a portion of the puzzle, but not all the background data. Next, have we identified all the costs associated with this? Since no one on the dais, and I doubt very few people on staff, has anyone looked at how much it cost the last time we did this? Because right now, costs are just trickling in. $1,700 for the facilities, $30,000 for the contract. What are the other indirect costs associated with this? And at a time when we are losing an incredible amount of federal money, where last week Head Start in Tarrant County announced they will not be open for the summer, we're spending money on redistricting that may or not be required by law. That's all I know.
Thank you. Ms. Cox.
I'm still Jackie Cox, and I still live in Hit Miles District. And I am really concerned about the way in which the maps were not forthcoming about what they're about. The only data that we're given are little pictures, where if you get down to the thing on, actually the county has a map of the current districts where you can actually sort of zoom in and see where the street lines are and the boundaries are. You know who's in whose district if you look real carefully at that map. These maps, you can't see the street lines behind the colors. And the only clue we're given as to what the maps are about is a bar graph. This is what it looks like. This is one of them. And for map 5, for example, it says base precincts 1 through 4. And then it shows the total number of people who live in each of those districts. And each of them comes out on the 5th one to be exactly 527 persons and start again. 527,660 persons. That's absolutely perfect distribution based on population. The other maps show the same deviation figures. So all of the maps are apparently based on trying to draw maps that get you closer and closer to a zero deviation in how many people are in each district. And then after that, we start seeing how president, senate, governor, president, how the races work out on a national level. That doesn't tell us much about how things work out on a county level, but it works out that Democrats always run somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 or 50 to 50%.
Thank you. All right, that's it for comments on that item. Now we move to public comments. The time will move back to 3 minutes. The first speaker we have is Carla Palomares, and then Mr. Dobson.
I don't have much else to say other than you need to fire Sheriff Bill Wayborn. You need to release the tape, the unedited video of the murder of Anthony Johnson Jr., and you all need to resign too. Bye.
All right, Mr. Dobson. Following Mr. Dobson, we have Julie Griffin.
Chris Dobson, I live in Arlington. I'm hoping that the live feed doesn't cut out this time like it did last meeting. I think it left off about the time that I said that our right to free speech comes from or endowed upon us by our Creator. It is not the privilege of government to restrict our speech. In the state of Texas, we have a number of laws that prevent us from criticizing the state of Israel and working with the state of Texas. It's called anti-Semitism. Semitism, however, as it's denoted, is any group of people that speak Hebrew, Arabic, or Aramaic. I thus put forward that the persecution and genocide of Palestinians going on right now is in fact an anti-Semitic act by Israel. So, for what reason did we put a movie prop on our lawn last meeting? The 10 Commandments, but not the real 10 Commandments, the movie version of the 10 Commandments, like it's some kind of Hollywood lawn show. I mean, can we put some Terminator stuff out there, or maybe a RoboCop thing? I personally like the movie Dazed and Confused. Maybe we could get some of those replicas to put on our lawn and show people just how tacky we like to be. Because you know what? We got freedom here in Tarrant County. That freedom, however, does not exist if by any chance the Tarrant County jails you. You know, we're hearing about people that are starving. We're hearing about people that are refused medicine. It's almost erotic staring up at the leaders of our county who show so little concern for injustices happening under their watch. Maybe, I don't know, y'all should go back and check that book that you keep throwing at us. But, you know, we here in Tarrant County are kind of used to it. We have dealt for, the last 70 years or so with a very tepid mixing of races in our society. Before that, we were an apartheid society. The city of Arlington has a historical film called The Hill, which was the only part of Arlington that black people were safe in for most of the 20th century. We ignore it now. We call it, oh, well, look at us, we're doing such great history. It's a condemnation of the morality of our leadership, and y'all, some of you are continuing.
Ms. Griffin, following Ms. Griffin, Linda Hanratty.
Elizabeth Gadlin died in our jail's custody Saturday, April 19, 2025. She was 57. On April 15th, 4 days prior, she had been arrested for a Class B misdemeanor, alleged theft of a suitcase at the airport, and her address was listed as homeless. As is so often the case, she had medical conditions on admission of a history of chronic illness and drug use, see Fox 4 News, April 21st, and probably suffered from mental illness, but was later transported to the hospital where she died. Her bond had been set at $300. I guess that's about what her life was worth. But no, I'll revise that. Her life, like so many others, the 70 plus since 2017 who have died in the Tarrant County Jail, is worth zero. Zero because the policy and practice of the Tarrant County Jail is to let or cause its prisoners to die. How can I say this? Because we've been coming here for 3 years, raising Cain about all these deaths at the jail, and they still keep on coming. It's like clockwork. When is it going to stop? Another recent death, that of Kimberly Phillips, has just been designated as caused by dehydration and malnutrition by the medical examiner. Well, these deaths won't stop if the legislature or the AG deems that so-called natural deaths or jail custody JPS deaths aren't worthy of independent investigations as required by the Sandra Bland Act. The fact is, 25 of our jail deaths from 2021 through 2024 somehow escaped that statutory mandate. Our sheriff is very interested in advocating this natural cause exception and shunning any kind of investigative integrity into deaths under his watch at the jail. He falsely claims outside entities have exonerated his practices. We know that the National Institute of Corrections report found numerous areas in which recommendations for fundamental changes were made. None of these have even been acknowledged by the jail or by JPS. Zero. Which is why I claim these lives themselves are also worth zero to the jail administration and the Commissioner's Court, that is, to those of you in the Commissioner's Court who continue to be silent and therefore support impunity for the jail's negligence and malfeasance. Make it a part of the record. Make a resolution you all agree to that you all as a body refuse to condone jail deaths and mistreatment of prisoners at the Tarrant County Jail. Also, make it part of the record. You do not support gutting the Sandra Bland Act in favor of covering up the negligence and culture of impunity at the Tarrant County Jail. Thank you.
Thank you. Following Ms. Hanratty, we have Charles Bills.
This is not the first time I have spoken about the troubling case of Chastity Bonner, who died in the Tarrant County Jail on May 27, 2024. The media initially reported that she had been administered Narcan, but JPS said that they had not done so. And as I remember it, the sheriff's office then said, well, we did. The preliminary finding of cause of death, when it finally was released, was that she died of a heart attack. When a more final autopsy was released, I think it was last month, almost 11 months from her death, the medical examiner's office said she died of a heart attack that was genetic and that all the family members should be tested. The family indicated that they were not aware of any genetic issues. But the other thing is, why did the medical examiner's office wait so long to provide the important information to the family? This is puzzling to me. Apparently, the sheriff's office had put a hold on the report. The latest iteration of this saga is that there were 2 videotapes taken in her cell around the time of her death that were never reported, at least not in the media. It should be noted that the Fort Worth police officer who reviewed the investigation apparently did not review the videotapes. And now the video of her exact time of death has a 3-minute gap that has not been explained. After almost a year, the grieving family and the Tarrant County community are still in the dark about exactly how a 35-year-old woman died of a heart attack in the jail. We need answers about this most disturbing case and not all the stalling and conflicting reports. And unfortunately, as Julie so aptly told us, this is not the only one of the many troubling deaths in the Tarrant County jail system under Sheriff Weyburn's watch. It's 32 and counting. Thank you.
Following Ms.
72, excuse me.
Following Mr. Bills, we have Cassandra Johnson.
I've spoken before about the district attorney fighting unwinnable cases while ignoring the case against the man who sprayed pepper spray in Anthony Johnson Jr.'s mouth, resulting in his death, and the other jailers who stood around and did nothing to watch that happen. But now the district attorney has decided to prosecute Carolina Rodriguez for using foul language here in court, and another man who I don't remember his name, but for clapping. You know, these disrupting the court, I know you've punished before. You've just had them banned for a year. I don't know why you now have to accelerate it or increase it to actual prosecution, but it just seems very, very oppressive. Thank you.
Following Ms. Johnson, we have Robert Van.
My name is Cassandra Johnson. I'm the mother of the deceased Traylon Wormley, who died inside of Tarrant County Jail, Green Bay Jail, on July the 20th, 2022, from apparently a fentanyl overdose, 7 days before his court date. My son Traylon had special needs and traumatic brain issues. Traylon loved football. Absolutely loved football. As long as he was on the field, he was happy. Team, it's been 3 years since my son died. As per the Sandra Bland Act, not Cassandra, not his mother, but the Sandra Bland Act, you are supposed to appoint an independent law enforcement agency to investigate the jail custody deaths. It's never too late. I'm still waiting on answers. When Traylon was alive and placed on bond probation, before he was stable on medication, we had to follow the law. I worked close with the probation officers and everybody. We worked hard. It's still in question why he was removed from his home on the day that he was found a place to accommodate his needs. It's still in question why this investigation hadn't been done. I can't do these 3-minute speeches anymore. But I yet want to wish you, Miss Simmons, a happy Mother's Day, and to all of the mothers, happy Mother's Day.
Mr. Van. Following Mr. Van, we have Jennifer White.
Well, I'm going to revert a little bit back to the gerrymandering. Judge O'Hare made an essentially unitary decision to spend taxpayer money to effect an unnecessary and unwarranted mid-decade political gerrymander of Tarrant County's precinct boundaries. The years since the 2020 census have created insufficient population imbalance to justify such a waste of taxpayer funds. This gerrymander is for the blatantly obvious purpose of obstructing next year's re-election of Commissioner Elisa Simmons due to her outspoken representation of her constituents. While the reactionary majority of SCOTUS has opted to greenlight political gerrymandering, they have not yet okayed the racial version. Who knows, maybe approving racial gerrymandering will be next on their agenda. Or maybe it will take so long to get the expected lawsuits over Tarrant County's obvious racial gerrymandering through the courts, which, by the way, has been noted will cost us taxpayers dearly, that any decision will come too late to affect next year's election. When comparing the proposed maps with a racial demographics map of the county, the fact that the proposed redistricting is an obvious racial gerrymander just jumps right out at you. I really hope that members of this court backing this gerrymander will rethink what they're about to undertake.
Is Ms. White present? Following Ms. White, we have Edward Spears.
Hi. Bear with me because I've never done this before. I am a resident of Fort Worth. I own a business in Fort Worth. I'm in Precinct 1. I just want to stand to say that I would like us not to redistrict or change the lines in order to sway upcoming elections. I think that if our foundations are strong, we can win elections the right way. We do not need to abuse the system to undermine the will of the people. I am also curious why no one has spoken as an advocate for it. It just says something to me that no one's come up here and said that they like this. I think that should mean something. And then I just wanted to end by saying that whatever's going on with Traylon's mom, my heart breaks for her. Can we not do something for this woman? This is not right. Thank you.
Thank you. Following Mr. Spears, we have Rose Abraham.
Okay. Well, afternoon. Good afternoon. I wanted to make this, and I will continue to come as I see we have not found unity yet, and my call is that we will. So to the members of the Tarrant County Commissioners Court, if time was sufficient, I would like to read to you John 8:31 through 47 aloud in your hearing in the presence of God and these witnesses. But because time will not allow, I have provided a copy of it for you. But in that verse, Jesus clarifies that calling oneself by a name does not make it true. He says that we are known by our actions, not by our self-described designations. He told the Jews of that day that they may claim Abraham as their father, but their actions revealed that their real father was the devil. When we claim Christ, but our actions reflect the actions Jesus described in verses 44 as the works of the devil, we show that we are not really followers of Christ, but agents of the adversary. The last time I was here, someone challenged me and asked, where does the Bible say what we're doing is not Christ-like? So I'll clarify. Jesus clarified this in many ways, but I will stick to two fundamental scriptures that Jesus used to define his purpose. One is his declaration in Luke 4:18 through 19, and the other is his measuring guide for right and wrong based on Matthew 25:31 through 46. So based on that, if your actions are not designed to reach the poor, heal the broken, deliver the captive, restore sight to those that cannot see and are unseen, and liberate the bruised, it is not Christ-like. If your actions are designed not to feed the poor, feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, and care for the stranger, it is not Christ-like. If your actions are not designed to clothe the naked, help the sick, and as we've seen in many of these comments, and care for the imprisoned, it is not Christ-like. However, if your actions are set in lies or deception or clothed in deceit, then those actions are meant to silence those that Jesus cared the most about and is more about power than his passion, and that is definitely not Christ-like. According to those scriptures that I've given you, the same Christ that we all serve would say that people that do that were not of him or God, but of a different father, and that they would be considered goat, not sheep, on the day of judgment. So I'm asking you again, please reconsider these divisive measures. Reconsider this behavior that is not Christ-like. We put the 10 Commandments on the front of the building. Let's make sure they're written on our hearts. Thank you.
Is Rose Abraham here? All right, Nan Terry.
We had another jail death since we last met. The name of the woman who died is Liza Elizabeth Gadlin. I apologize if I mispronounced her name. I don't know if the jail has hired the liaison employee, but the report is online in the Attorney General Deaths in Custody database. Ironic, her initial hearing was scheduled for today. And the ME's office identified Kimberly Phillips' manner of death as undetermined, but the cause was dehydration and malnutrition. Someone should be ashamed. Next, I quote from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Security camera footage the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office sent to the State Commission lacks the 3 minutes immediately preceding the medical emergency that resulted in the death of a woman in the county jail last year, end quote. Chastity Bonner is her name. Matt is not here, but it is my understanding that he voted for the Sandra Bland Act, and he likes the Sandra Bland Act. Missing the 3 minutes in a video submitted to the Commission on Jail Standards is not in compliance with that act, nor was the county in compliance by not doing the 20 or so missing outside investigations, including Traylon Wormley's. I wish this court would spend as much time on bringing the Tarrant County Jail in compliance with the Sandra Bland Act as you have and will spend on redistricting. Instead of spending money on a dubious requirement for redistricting, Tarrant County Jail needs to spend money to comply with the Sandra Bland Act. You need to go back and investigate those deaths that did not have an outside investigation while in custody and therefore were not in compliance with the Sandra Bland Act. If you're going to do redistricting because you think it's the law, why isn't there a similar outcry to comply with the Sandra Bland Act? It's also the law. It's a state law. In addition, you need to determine why people are dying of dehydration in the jail. Do you know how many this makes? What have you done about it? I want you to search for the solution that will give you the answers as to why people are dying of dehydration in our jail while in our custody, and then I want you to fund those solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Jimmy Blackwell present? Mr. Blackwell. All right, those are all the public comments, announcements and comments from the court members. Anybody have any announcements?
Yeah. I do.
I'm sorry, you're not a court member. Yes. Yes, Ms. Commissioner Simmons.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. That wasn't sure who you were speaking to. So we've heard from citizen after citizen after citizen concerned about these map drafts. It is imperative that we hear from the map drawer. Mr. Nixon, Mr. O'Hare, what is the likelihood that we could get Adam Kincaid to the next court meeting? More importantly, we need him at the public hearing, town halls, whichever it's called. We have got to hear from the map drawer. Mr. Nixon clearly won't or can't or answer questions. He just resorts to saying this is the decision you guys are making. So we need to hear from the map drawer. What is the likelihood, Mr. Nixon or Mr. O'Hare, that we can get Mr. Kincaid to Tarrant County?
This is announcements and comments. So do you have any other comments?
Well, I had a question for you.
Yeah, that's not what this section is. Do you have any other comments?
I absolutely do.
Okay.
So is there a point in time we can talk about getting the map drawer here, since we don't want to answer the question now?
Do you have any other comments or questions?
Well, I just asked you a question.
Yeah, this is not ask court members question time. You know that. Okay.
Well, we can ask Mr. Nixon. Mr. Nixon?
He's not present.
He's left. Okay. Okay. Good folks, it doesn't sound like we can get the map drawer here. The orchestrator of redistricting doesn't want to publicly commit to getting the map drawer here. But let me make this very clear. There are 5 proposed maps. You saw those on the county's website. I saw some of them. Some of you had them printed with you. Mr. Nixon and our county website said that these maps were drawn at the direction of each commissioner. That's what Mr. Nixon said. Now, Commissioner Miles and I support the base map. So those 5 proposed maps did not come from Simmons or Miles. Y'all need to be very clear. So they have 5 maps shown and there are 5 court members, do not be misled into believing that Miles and Simmons has a map up there. We didn't participate in redrawing anything. And so there are only 3 other members of the court, O'Hare, Kraus, and Ramirez, where the 5 maps come from. Who ordered the other maps? Which map goes with which commissioner? So those are questions I have. I don't know if, so Mr. Nixon left, Mr. O'Hare is not going to answer any questions. I don't know if county staff knows which of the 2 commissioners came up with which of the 5 maps, and did the county judge draft a map as well? And then where did the other 2 of the 5 come from? Because the base map, the current map, is the map that Miles and Simmons requested. That would be the 6th map. So I just want y'all to be very clear. 2 or 3 of the court members came up with 5 maps. The community came up with 0 maps. And Simmons and Miles are with the current base map. Just wanted to make that clear. And I want to debunk false justifications for redrawing commissioners' court boundaries before we end here. We heard vague reasons today for changing the boundaries. Something like Tarrant hasn't redistricted in however many years, Mr. Nixon said. Tarrant County conducted a full and thorough redistricting process in 2021. Okay. Vague reasons. The current districts don't reflect the population growth in the county, and the current districts don't reflect the political behavior of the county. None of those claims hold up. Our population imbalance. The current map has very little deviation in population. I've said this once today, I'm going to say it again. It's far under the 10% allowed. And from 2010 to 2020, Tarrant became a majority minority county. Nobody spoke today about pushing forward. None of our constituents spoke today about pushing forward with this redistricting process. I'm here to serve the people. If every one of those people showed up at the public hearing at the Arlington Sub-Courthouse on the 17th and said, we want to redistrict, and this is why, and this is what we want our maps to look like, I would say, you got it. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Let's get on with redistricting. I listened to the people that elected me. That's it. That's public service. It's not about, I mean, you guys wield the power. 3-2. You've already got the power. So maintaining conservative leadership, you've got it. It should be about serving the people. And that's what it is for me. This is unnecessary, and it's costly, it's racist, and it's sad.
Anybody else have any comments? Okay. We don't have an executive session today. Therefore, we are officially adjourned. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching.